The finish line for GE 2025 is almost in sight, with only about 2.5 days left for campaigning. If you're new to the show, I'm Natasha and welcome to The Usual Place. Today, I'm chatting with Liyana Dhamirah, Manickam and Marcus Neo, candidates from Red Dot United. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
How have you all been since campaigning started last week?
I'm great.
Do you want it to continue longer?
Oh, okay. I would say it has really kept me going. It reminded me of my army days. I have to wake up as early as 4 o'clock to get my household things done, and I have to leave the house by 6 o'clock because I need to drop my daughter to school, and then I just set off. So I felt that kind of lifestyle, I missed it, and I used to be in SCF. So it's like getting back as I wish. That is the 9 days is not enough. So maybe a month.
Oh, wow.
Liyana, Marcus, can you do this for a month?
No, unlike Carla, I'm like, I need sleep already by now. At least for me, I'm going by like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours of sleep at max. Yeah, and I think the 9 days, we're in day 6 right now. It has been intense thus far, but the excitement, the adrenaline rush is there too. So it's a mixed emotions, at least for me.
Yeah. Marcus, you doing okay on the campaign trail?
Doing okay. Putting on some weight.
I lost weight.
Some people lost weight, some people gain weight. But I don't sleep enough, I gain weight.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it's sufficient time for myself. Yeah, and appreciate it. It's a good 9 days of good effort. Yeah, from the team as well. Yeah.
All right. So for some context for our viewers, a background on Red Dot United, it's a very young political party because it was only formed in 2020. And that year, RDU contested just one constituency, which was Jurong GRC at that time. Fast forward 5 years, and in this election, RDU is fielding the second highest number of opposition candidates after the Workers' Party. So I have to ask, your party is going head-to-head with PAP this election in all 4 constituencies with 15 candidates. How did RDU scale up from a one GRC showing in 2020 to fielding this many today? Liyana, you're the party treasurer. Maybe you want to take this question?
I would say that it's years of putting our boots on the ground. And it's heartening to see that there are people approaching us with the right set of values. And usually what they share is that, my values align with your party. That's what attracted to me to Red Dot. It's either that or they have been trying to find a place somewhere and finally they find Red Dot United. So it's heartening to see that we are attracting the right value-aligned individuals to our party. Since GE 2020, we continue walking the ground of Jurong GRC. We uphold our promises to still be there for the residents. And I would say that a lot of our long-term volunteers from then till now does come from Jurong GRC. So I think that is a good starting point that we have. And then segueing into nationwide, we do have other candidates because word of mouth does spread. And from friends to friends, they talk about, what are the kind of Singapore they would like to see. And when they come across RDU back in 2020, they kind of like, I can resonate to what they are saying. I can resonate to what they are envisioning Singapore to be. And that's why they are attracted to the party.
Carla, Marcus, your take?
You want to go first or?
Okay, sure. I'll speak for someone who actually started volunteering in opposition politics since 2 years ago. And finally, I found my place with RDU. And the considerations of why I joined RDU as a newcomer as my first GE as well. I think in running a GE campaign, it's very complex. It requires more than just putting down a deposit. So from an outsider, I observed that actually RDU places a lot of emphasis on brand, on discipline, on being a united front. And well, as someone who observes opposition politics, I know that it can get messy sometimes, right? Some characters are a bit more flamboyant, if you will. But I do think that in order to be elected in the parliament, you need grounded politicians. And that's what RDU stands for. And I've got to give our Secretary General his props, Ravi Philemon. He's put together a team that can campaign in a very disciplined, united front. So that was what got me to join RDU finally. Yeah.
That's nice. Something about Ravi. I'll start from there. I believe leadership is very important.
Yeah.
And leadership cannot lead. Of course, you must have men around them, right? So leadership with the right man beside them, they can actually carry the message forward. So I felt that this RDU had very strong, what they call messaging, which is about fairer and compassionate society. That means we need to be fairer to the society and we need to be compassionate. So they actually kind of leave. That means they walk the talk. I'm also a strong believer that a leader must walk the talk. If the leader doesn't walk the talk, then we are making a mockery lah. You can say a lot of things, but you don't walk the talk. I think this something is drilled in me since in Singapore Armed Forces, right? That we need to lead by example. So, and you need to care for your men. They must have, and you need to be fair to your men also, right? Fair, compassion. So, I believe the party started in a good note with Ravi coming in to set up the vision for the Singaporeans to be a fairer society, compassionate, and everybody been singing the same song. And of course, in anything that you go, the discipline is important. We're not like extreme discipline where we are being treated like kids, no. Basic discipline is how we groom ourselves, how we look. And that is also an important quality when I was in Singapore Armed Forces, right? And in any uniform group. So basically, I would say that what attracted me to, in fact, I was actually running away from Ravi. Yeah, he
Because
didn't
you
give up.
knew
He
him
didn't give up. Yeah,
From your previous party with
yeah, he was following me for 5 years. He never gave up on me. He would call me, hello, how Kala, at least quarterly he'll call me, check on me. Yeah, I'm fine, But somehow deep in me, I'm a very strong follower of following my heart. I know my heart says that I need to be in a political party to pursue what I want to pursue for the people. But I was just taking a break to see how I can actually adjust the whole thing. So I'm a very reflective person. So I took the time to reflect. And I see him very consistent. I couldn't resist lah. So I said yes. I think actually your vision, everything matched to me. I just holding back for a while because I want to spend time within myself, my deeper level, to find out whether this is the right place. Because once I go into this party, make sure there's no turning back. So I really deeply reflected before I going in, not just making a fast decision and move on, right? So because I don't want to go back to another place. So I just want to be there. So that I'm looking at a long term. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I want to hear from each of you individually. So, Liyana, I'm going to start with you. You're an operations manager at a non-profit organization and you run a virtual service business. And as I mentioned earlier, you're also the party's treasurer. Okay, but before we get into it, here's a snippet of what you said at a recent rally. Let's have a look.
My name is Liyana Dhamirah, and I serve as the Central Executive Committee member and the treasurer of Red Dot United. We need leaders who understand the real challenges on the ground, leaders who have lived them, leaders who don't just speak from air-conditioned offices, but from a place of shared experiences.
So, Liyana, this is actually your second time standing with RDU, and in this election, you're a candidate for Jurong East, Bukit Batok, GRC.
Yes.
How different is this election for you personally compared to 2020?
How different? I think come with years, one has wisened up. Hopefully, I would like to think that I've wisened up in a way. And I've gotten a little bit more experience from the past election. I've done a lot of reflections and taken away learning pointers as well on what perhaps could be better this time round in this next election campaigning. And the difference which I find heartwarming is coming back. Of course, like what I mentioned earlier, we've continued putting our boots on the ground for the past 5 years. And it's heartwarming to see warmer welcome to the constituency. Even though previously it was Jurong GRC and now it's a new GRC that's been carved up and subsuming like new wards like Yuhua, Hong Kong North and parts of Bukit Batok as well. It's very heartening to see that the residents welcome us warmly, regardless of the changes. It's as if like we are familiar faces to them. We are no strangers. I frequently visit the eateries, the shops over there, in the mean of supporting them as well. So I would find that the difference between the then GE2020 and now GE2025 will be the familiarity of the surroundings.
Okay.
Yeah, and the warmness of the people.
I think that has come up this election, I'm not sure if it happened the last election, but a couple of days ago, you actually filed a police report about online harassment. And you did explain your reasons for doing so. But what I want to know is, how difficult is it for you, not just as a minority candidate, but also as a woman, to run for office in this election? And beyond the comments online, do you face any friction in public?
That's very interesting. I have one anecdote that I can share, which I experienced yesterday morning. But before that, back to the online comments. Initially, I'm a person who wouldn't like to make a mountain out of a molehill. And I've brought myself to a point in my life where I can dismiss a lot of insults that come my way, because unfortunately, or rather sadly, that it does still happen from time to time, whether it's online or it's delivered in person, right to my face. But what made me decided to proceed with the police report was also because that I knew that such is bigger than me. And I knew that stepping into a leadership role, I will need to lead by example, like what Kala mentioned previously. And also, in a way, paving the way for other minority women or women in general to know that there are resources out there for them to protect themselves with, for them to keep themselves safe. And in that line of thought was what made me proceeded with the police report. And I think we live in an era where we would have to do away all of these misogynist remarks and all of that, because come on, when there's racism, when there's sexism, we have to call it out. It's not at all okay that we continue to exhibit as if, and to me at least, if I don't speak up or don't stand my ground on that particular comments, when they became more intense, when they become more in terms of the quantity that is being commented, in our social media platform, then what does it show to the newer generation? Is it a norm to even do that? So I do not want it to be something that is being looked upon like, oh, it's normal to just, share that. Or even when there are comments saying that, oh, I should have joked back and say that, oh, you want nasi lemak? Okay, come, I buy you one after you like me, things like that. Which I find that that is what you would do if you were to appease someone. Like, you're trying to stay on their good side just to appease someone who are criticizing or insulting you. But we have to be brave in calling them out and saying that, hey, that's not okay.
Well, I think some people might say like, okay, you're in a public eye now. Because it's election period. And people might say, facing online comments are just part and parcel of entering politics. What do you say to this?
Well, first and foremost, I know that I didn't sign up to be insulted. And I didn't sign up to be publicly harassed online. That is not what anyone in a public figure position, I believe, is signing up to. Of course, and like what I mentioned earlier, I'm used to such insults and comments and criticism. The only thing which, like what I mentioned earlier just now, is that I want to lead by example in showing that there are ways to keep anyone safe from such online harm. And it is sad if we continue to perpetuate the harm by not doing anything. Yeah, if good people do nothing, then we are continuing to enable the harm to continue.
So you said earlier that you met someone yesterday. And,
yes.
You had an example.
Yes. So
I hope this is a good story.
it was actually an anomaly. When we were doing our walkabout, we were, like what I mentioned, it's heartening to receive warm welcome from the residents, from people on the ground. When we approach them, when we share our flyer, share more about ourselves, introduce ourselves, and asking for their name, getting to know the residents. However, what happened yesterday was I approached one of these tables at a coffee shop, and before I could even hand out my flyer or even say hi, the gentleman at the table just shouted, just like, no, go away, at a very high voice, go away, I don't want you here, things like that, which is, that is an anomaly it doesn't happen every time when we go for a walkabout. So I find that that's interesting. But I think upon reflecting, right, I'm proud that I hold myself with composure. My response is, oh, I'm sorry, you might have had a bad day. I'll come to you later. Apologize for, just disrupting his morning, whatever it is that he may be experiencing
Does
at that
he know
moment.
you're from the opposition?
Yeah, he does.
You know why I'm asking you this? I had a similar incident. So I was knocking at the door, and then the guy said, "Go away, go away."
When
Then I
was
said,
this? When was this?
"This is this is at Jalan Kayu." So then he said, "Go away, go away." Then I said, "Just to let you know, we are from the opposition party. RDU." What? Okay, come. He came to the. He thought we are the other party, PAP, and then he doesn't say, "Go away, go away." So I think he didn't listen. So I raised my voice to say, "We are from the opposition party, RDU." Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Then he came and he spoke to us for 10 minutes.
Oh, that's nice.
So that's why I'm asking you whether he could have mistaken.
He knew.
Yeah, he knew.
So basically, what happened was we were approaching the table. We were introducing ourselves as Red Dot United, the opposition party, and straight away that was where he raised his voice and asked us to go away. He doesn't want us here. I think it's human to react in certain episode when you are either not prepared or you're just starting your day, right? So anything can go at both ends of the spectrum. But at least for me and my team member, I would say that I'm very proud. And Marcus was there, right, yesterday?
Yep.
Yeah. Marcus was there.
Yeah, because you're on the same team.
Yeah.
And we'll get to you, Marcus, in a bit. So it wasn't a good story for the guy, but you actually managed to keep your composure. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, we stay classy, guys.
Well, the other thing I wanted to ask you about, because your personal story has come up a couple of times about how you're homeless and also how you battled mental illness around that time. Based on your experience, what do you think needs to change in Singapore for people who fall through the cracks?
That's why we continue to emphasize the need for a more compassionate society. Because without compassion, there isn't any empathy. And empathy requires someone to be more than just, oh, I understand you, right? It requires someone to put themselves in another person's shoe, to really understand where they're coming from, what are kind of issues that perhaps evoke a sense of unpleasant feelings. And from there, they can then, advocate for themselves. So it's very important for us to have compassion, and empathy starts with one being kind to one another, even though if anyone might not understand the situation of another being, but just being there, just being present, just being a listening ear would help a lot. And I think that is even more crucial nowadays because we do see a stat in the rising of mental illnesses here in Singapore. So we can do better.
Thanks, Liyana, for that. I'm going to switch it over to Carla, put you in the hot seat now.
Yeah.
So you're a specialist adult educator and you're running in Jurong Central SMC against the PAP's Xie Yao Chuan. Here's a little bit of what you said at a recent rally. Let's have a look.
Opposition will be the insurance for the country. You need to back up. We all buy insurance for our medical. We buy insurance for our accidental plan. We buy insurance for crisis cover. Did we buy insurance to actually check on the party and PAP? We need to back up in times of crisis. Having opposition is like having insurance. You hope you don't need it, but when problem happens, bad policies, mistakes, there's someone there to speak for you in the parliament and bring up every single thing so that we will do the best for you.
So those are some pretty bold statements. That said, the RDU, as I mentioned earlier, was only started in 2020. It's a young party and voters might not be as familiar with RDU. What is the party's pitch to voters based on, what you said?
Pitch, is it?
Yeah, what's the party's pitch?
Basically, the pitch is similar. Let's say we want a fairer and a compassionate society, right? So in order for us to actually exemplify this fairer and compassionate society, it doesn't, people think that we are more on the weaker side, fairer, compassionate, very, lovey-dovey kind of thing, right? So, but beneath that, we have to move up to see what are the strategies that we can bring in so that we can actually exemplify this fairness and compassion. So when you were talking to
Yeah. Talking to Liyana earlier,
Liyana,
yes.
you were saying about the mental illnesses that's happening in our country, right? So basically, that's a basis of the fairness and compassionate, where we need to bring in strategies to actually bring our people out of this particular zone they're in. In fact, quite a larger population of our population size, be it from young to the old, in certain level, their mental well-being is affected. So the pitching that we're going to is actually we need to hear the sounds and the beats of the people's, their heartbeats, because we are not listening to that. Every day when we are at home, even individually for us, there's so many things are running through our thought process, right? Things can be related to your job, related to your family, related to your finance, so many things. But even there's so many things running through your mind, you need to somehow bounce back with someone. It'll be good to bounce back. But there are a lot of people don't have someone they could bounce back to. And they become very transactional. So when they need something, they go to the people they need to ask for help. For example, the member of parliament or whatever it is, they get it done and finish over. But what is missing is the kind of personal touch. What's going to happen? What's happening now? Where are you now? Where can I bring you from here? Understanding what the capabilities are and what are the expertise are, and then we can maybe use them for other purposes. So I feel that we got so many tools, right? We use tools to maximize our outcome, right? But we are not maximizing our human resources in Singapore. I just saw a man today, 3 men I saw, which is one is 84 years old, one is 88 years old, one is 80 years old. So can you imagine all these 3 guys are very fit and they're able to walk and their mind is so strong. Where I'm coming from is, these people might be, this is exactly what Major Cheng said. Major Cheng is one of my residents who I had a conversation this morning. Today was his birthday. We wished him birthday wishes. And he said he's actually a major in the army. And he actually helped our LKY in his processes and he has assisted some things. And he has so much of wealth of experience. And he said, they don't want us anymore. And he says that my body can be weak, but my mind is strong. And he said, if LKY, at the age of 90, they still tap on his, what is his feeling and the feedback that he's going to give for one ideas. So he can be frail, but he's very strong in his mind. And there are a lot of people out there. And that's how, before my doorstep interview, I said this to the interviewers. There's so much of resources and expertise we have in our older generation, the elderly, but we did not tap on them. And true enough, when I bumped into them this morning, I was so glad that he spoke his mind. And he said that they don't want us. And very sad, it was very painful for me because he just said that we can be good, we can be utilized, can be used for so many purposes. But they just put us aside. So the pitching is every Singaporean, regardless whether you're young, middle-aged or old, everybody got some level of uniqueness and expertise in them. Do we want to tap on every single person? And maybe we got many more talents in Singapore. Yeah.
So earlier you mentioned something about, you earlier mentioned that you're walking in Jalan Kayu, and actually RDU actually introduced you there as a potential candidate.
Yes.
But later decided to step aside for WP and filled you in Jurong Central SMC instead. How have you been trying to get up to speed on the ground there? Because people might not be as familiar, perhaps?
I call this destiny. I'm a strong believer in destiny. What is meant for me is meant for me. What's not meant for me is not meant for me. So upon reflection now, I'm very happy every day that I've actually, thanks to the Workers' Party, we gave way to Workers' Party and they're taking Jalan Kayu. On the hindsight, when I came to Jurong Central, and Jurong Central is something not new to me because it's my childhood area. I was there from 14 years old to 35 years old. So all the places I know. But of course, I moved out, right? But why I say it's a blessing because the people that I saw every day in and out just reminded of me of my dad. And my dad is a very, very carefree man. He goes out to everybody, speaks to everyone. Even though he doesn't understand Malay, he doesn't understand English, but use sign language to ask people, how are you doing good? Have you eaten? The moment they say they have not eaten, he will bring them home. And every day my house got at least 3 strangers. My mom thought it's all his friends, but actually they're not friends. So, so his service is to give food. So why I say it's related to today, what I'm seeing in Jurong Central is many of the elderlies I see. In fact, 80% when I'm shaking hand is mostly elderlies. And they actually feel the same thing and ask me, how are you? Do you like to have a drink? Do you like to eat? So it just connected with my dad, you know. So where I'm coming from is I'm so happy because it's kind of give me the feeling of taking care of my own parents, connecting with my own parents, and I don't see a difference in them how they actually care for me, and many of them could not speak English, right? They speak
How do you
Chinese.
connect with them?
That's why this is what my father told me. You don't need language. You need just sign language and facial expression. And I used what my dad has taught me. He's actually my idol. So he doesn't know any language. Language doesn't come with what he spoke. Language comes with body language, right? 93%, in fact, body language, 55% is your communication. So I just ask, how are you? Smile. Ethan, what are you doing? You know? And they don't understand. But the moment I show them my flyer, yes, I know. Yeah, good. Then one man this morning, when I was giving a flyer, he gave me his phone to put in my ear. I said, wondering, what is he doing? He is actually listening to my speech.
Oh.
And that's the action, you know. Very action-oriented elderly people. We don't speak much, but use a lot of sign languages. So the pitch we're putting there is we want to be mindful that every single person, be it young or old or elderly, everybody got capabilities. We want to tap on the expertise.
Okay. So let's hear a little bit from Marcus as well, because you're a first-time candidate. So Kala has been on the ground. You're a first-time candidate. You are RDU's, you're Liyana's teammate because you're a candidate for Jurong East Bukit Batok GRC. But before we find out a little bit about you, here's a snippet of what you said at a rally recently.
大家好，我是梁凯杰. Why I joined opposition politics? Let me tell you why. In the last 5 years, I've observed that there were many legislations pushed through in Parliament without concerning the different voices and segments of society. They may be small, but they are important nonetheless. The only way to have our young, middle-aged and old, committed, dedicated, you've heard my colleagues, many young Singaporeans, my peers alike, they've decided to move overseas, or some maybe they think, okay, let's stay in JB, it's cheaper, less stress. Unless the government is able to persuade all Singaporeans of all ages to put their roots here through accessible, affordable homes, then I would say we will have a big problem in 20-25 years. We're all done for.
Marcus, you are one of the younger candidates this general election. What's the big issue among your peers that you want to push for?
I think for people my age, two things come to mind. Firstly, you've watched the rally speech snippets. Housing comes top of mind. Secondly is job insecurity. So these are the two themes that I would like to push forth. And this is also coherent with RDU's policy proposals. One of them being, if we were to be elected to Parliament, RDU would push for a relook into housing policies. And also, when it comes to job insecurity, it's not just foreign talent coming in. It's also the relationship between the employer and employee. RDU will push for a fairer employer-employee relationship so that we can actually somewhat enable Singaporeans to actually speak up at work, to take risks, calculated risks at work, so that we can actually also value add to the employer in the long run by gaining productivity, if you will. If the relationship is imbalanced, then people might not want to speak up at work, right? It's like,
Do you think Singaporeans can't speak up at work now?
Nope.
Kala just said no, right?
Yeah, but what's holding them back?
I think people in their 30s and their 40s, when they are faced with a potential high mortgage, resale flats, they would not be incentivized to speak at work. They would be disincentivized and to be more self-preservative. Right? I don't want to lose my job. What if my boss don't like me? What if my colleagues, say this, say that? I want to protect myself. Let's not take risks. I have a huge mortgage to pay for. Yeah. So I think these are the concerns, and I've also feedback from my friends around me.
Sad, isn't it?
Well, I wanted to ask Marcus, because the RGU team will actually be going up against the PAP team, which will include Minister for Sustainability and the Environment, Grace Fu, Minister of State for Law and Transport, Murali Pillai, and Minister of State for Health and Digital Development and Information, Rahayu Mazam. So yesterday at the PAP's Fullerton rally, did y'all catch it?
Yeah, I catch it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of it, yeah.
PM Wong told the crowd, and I'm paraphrasing here, that it will be if that the PAP's ability to govern effectively would be severely weakened if the opposition wins in several constituencies, and that would mean a loss of several ministers, leading to a weakened cabinet. The GRC that you're contesting has 3 political office holders. Now, hearing that, what's your response, Marcus?
Well, I think Pritam Singh has responded somewhat to a similar question to that. He has said something about George Yeo once being labelled as someone that's very core to the cabinet. And, well, we all know that George Yeo lost and he was no longer a minister. And the PAP still formed government, and, well, life went on. They found different people. They pushed different people. So that would be my response. I think that, statistically as well, like if the PAP were to lose even more seats, they would still form government. And I do believe that the PAP machinery has enough resources to actually push people up and still have a stable government. Yeah. That's my response to it.
Okay, so let's find out a little bit about you personally, because now you run your own marketing agency, but you used to run a one-man company offering dating and relationship advice to guys, right? So in any election, parties are asking voters to swipe right on them. So what would RDO's bio say to win voters over in Jurong East, Bukit Batok, GRC?
Well, I will echo what my colleagues have said here, for a more compassionate and a more fairer Singapore, but not in the sense that we're not here to take on the government, right? To put a harpoon in the government. We are non-adversarial, we're grounded, we're resilient, and we would like to have a more compassionate society. So that would be my RDU bio, if you will. Yeah.
All right. Do you guys have a bio for RDU, for voters to swipe right on your...
To come on our side, right? I would say something lah. In life goes on. We evolve. A lot of things changes. You see, if you have been in the parliament for 60 years and ruling the country for 16 years, if the leaders are not open and open to embrace alternate parties, again, one resident told me this morning, only in Singapore we call the different parties opposition. If you go to US, they say Democratic and Republican. They never hear the word opposition. So you say, why do in Singapore we label the people as opposition, Why they can call in a certain name and give them the dignified, thing. So to the extent that the residents can speak in that manner shows that change is something that nobody can stop, right? So I felt the PAP government, not government, not PAP, they should actually embrace that it's okay to have oppositions in the parliament. Because if they can see it like this terminology came that we want to be a co-driver, right? That in the last election it came. So why don't you see us in the same perspective that we are coming in if you look at it as an alternative party, but we're going to help you. We're going to help you because our purpose is the same.
Yeah.
Actually, I have to tell you that the opposition term is actually used in many other countries. It's not used in the US, but it's used in different countries. So it's what it is to the PAP government.
Okay,
So,
this doesn't matter. They can call it, but what I'm trying to say is can they shift the shift in the direction that why can't they, instead of living in past glories, shift the direction to show to the people of Singapore that we are open, that we are embracing diversity, just like what they embrace people from different walks of life, different countries, different region. They open up their arms, right? They came out with a policy to embrace everybody, right? So why don't they have the same openness to embrace us, because we're all fighting the same cause?
Exactly.
And actually, it makes their life even simpler. You know why?
in what sense?
Because we don't need so many ministers in a small country, right? We just have one main minister enough. Then the rest become the MPs, member of parliaments. Most of the member of parliaments are working very hard, right? The alternative voices.
True.
And they can tap on us to debate on issues, come out, and we can go to the ground to do whatever we need to do. And you can save the cost and give to our Singaporeans,
True.
right? Those who need it. So it depends on how you sit. Being an educator, I think there's no one way works for all. Whether you want to be very open-minded and bring in different strategies to manage it. Just like going back to the army, they train us. If I plan to attack my enemy in direct, it doesn't happen. I have to go by left or right. I cannot stay put and say come, right? So that's what they're doing. They stay put and standing and say you keep coming, and they're going head on. Why can't you take different flanks and see how you can embrace us and we work together because our purpose is the same.
So for Singaporeans as a whole.
Yeah, Singaporeans. If their purpose is the same for Singaporeans and our purpose is Singaporeans, what are you fighting for? Come on, co-create.
Yeah.
Go together.
On that note, I have a bowl which I ask everybody who sits on this couch. Well, most of the candidates who sit on this couch. A bowl of get to know you questions. So, Liyana, because you're the closest to me,
Okay.
can I have you pick one and the whole couch will answer it? Okay, Marcus, you look very panicked. Okay, will you give me and I'll read it out. Yes. Oh, okay, team bubble tea or Kopi-O kosong? What is your exact go-to drink order? What's your favorite drink?
That's very specific. Mine would be Kopi-O kosong.
Okay, why?
I think can be an attribute from the experiences that I had in my life that I kind of like can put up with bitterness in a way. And Kopi-O kosong, there's no sugar, there's nothing. I mean, apart from staying away from, type 2 or type 1 kind of diabetes, which runs in the gene of my family, unfortunately. Kopi-O kosong helps to perk me up without the need for sugar.
Hala? What's your go-to drink order?
Again, to what I said just now earlier, we need to evolve, right? So yes, Kopi-O kosong is nice with the butter. If it's even better, right? The butter, no, if you put the butter, so that's fantastic. But things have changed now. When my daughter came along, and she loves bubble tea.
Oh.
And I don't know what is the taste like bubble tea initially. She said, "Mommy, come, let's try bubble tea." No, I think I told her, no, it's got a lot of sugar. And I think, don't worry, we're not going for 100%. We're going with 30% or 20%. You can reduce the sugar or no sugar at all. Come, let's go for bubble tea. And I must say thanks to my daughter because after drinking bubble tea, I love it.
Is it the milk tea? You go for the
milk tea,
Oh, okay.
or the even can be a milk one, or they can even have fruit bubble teas. So I can have a choice. So, and I have evolved and I want to be with the youngsters, what they want, so that I can have more interactions with my daughter over bubble tea. Bubble tea will attract her and I say, okay, let's have more conversation. So that's how I shifted myself. And that's exactly what I'm telling, that we need to shift when we need to shift and don't stay where we are and keep on saying that old ways will still work.
True, we can evolve.
Yes.
Okay, Marcus, what are we ordering for lunch in our drink order?
I would be going for a classic Singaporean teh tarik.
Oh,
no,
okay.
kosong.
Why?
Well, contrary to what you guys see on the TV and rally speeches, I'm actually quite an introverted person. So when I drink caffeine, Kopi-O kosong, it would just get me off the edges. So bubble tea, I'm quite health conscious as well. So I think teh tarik falls right, in the middle. In the middle. Yeah, got sugar.
Yeah.
So yeah, teh tarik has been my go-to. It's a nice fit in between.
All right. On that note, I'm going to let you get back to campaigning. Are you guys headed back to the west?
Yes, we're going to go. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Good luck out there. It's about 3 more days to go.
Yes. 3.5 days, yeah.
All right. But thank you very much for stopping by. So more candidates will be dropping by this couch. I won't give away who will be on tomorrow, but here's a clue. They'll be coming from the northeast. So I'll see you tomorrow at the usual place at noon, live right here on the Straits Science Podcast channel. Bye.